to the Sounds of Stadia, episode 31 podcast. You've joined myself, Chris, and my beautiful co-hosts in the cubes. To my immediate right, we have Mr. Tom.
To his
our
left.
techie teacher, tired from last night. And below him, you've got our backup audio technician / escort, Richie.
I feel
Not my escort, just to be clear.
I feel I've been relegated from like a main audio technician last night to a backup today.
It's however the wind
It's amazing
blows.
what you can do on like 4 hours sleep.
It really is. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, to episode 31 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. We're here to bring you a fantastic show, and if you are new to the channel, due to events that happened last night, welcome one and all. If you're not aware, we bring you the latest Stadia and gaming news from around the globe to discuss on a weekly topical podcast show. Sometimes we go off the grid and have shits and giggles along the way, but you know what? Who doesn't like shits and giggles, eh? So join us this week for episode 31 as we delve into some of the Stadia news from around the world. But before we get started, let's touch on some little bits of housekeeping. One, we're all really tired. We had a late night last night taking part in the wonderful event that was the Super Stadia Saturday that took place from everyone around the community joined in with us. We had a great time, right, lads?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it was a blast.
amazing.
Fantastic.
Over 24 hours of content was streamed live yesterday throughout the
really
Stadia
was.
community.
I managed to tune into, I think, pretty much everybody's show for a little bit, bar the last two that were like well into the early hours of last night, and I just couldn't. They may have played in the background on auto loop, but I definitely wasn't awake.
I fell off about 2 a.m.
Yeah, I managed to make it to the end of Meg's, I think. But yes, so lovely community, all pulled together, showcased some amazing Stadia content, and we all had a fantastic time. We brought you the Big Stadia Quiz of the Year, which was broadcast on our channel, and thank you to everybody who tuned in. We had over 30 participants taking part in the quiz to win the Google Stadia Play credits. Well done to our winners, Roger and Seven, or Sev5.
Sevza and Nathan Tech Gaming.
Yeah. The
Usernames?
gamer tags, usernames.
Yeah.
No one
Sevza
knows
and
on
Nathan
the
Tech
internet.
Gaming.
Exactly. But yes, well done to our winners. Thank you for taking part, everyone. We wanted to bring you something different, and we certainly feel like we did that. It was a really good laugh, and we had a great time doing it as well, and having some beers and stuff along the way. We didn't get a chance to bring you some spitlings, so we are going to try and pick that up and showcase another episode of that, because we did have some plans in the pipeline, but we'll bring them to you eventually. So stay tuned and keep it locked to us to find out about that. Some other little bits. Richie, our first episode of Lost Words Beyond the Page went live yesterday also. Would you like to tell everybody a little bit about that?
Episode 1 went live. Go watch it.
Trying to give myself a moment to grab a drink.
Yeah, it's a really good game. I've completed the game now. I really enjoyed playing through it all, so you can join me in my adventure.
YouTube.com/SensorStadia.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
We do have our Tomb Raider finale that went up, so remember that is all there on demand to go check out, catch up. All 12 episodes are now up on YouTube. Go give them some love. We had a great time with Lara Croft, and she's not gone yet because later on the news she may be making a return.
Dun, dun, dun.
And final point of note is we all lost the pizza bet.
Yeah.
Richie has also fallen. Get Packed did not come out this Thursday, which we probably suspected. I mean, as you've alluded to, Tom, the 28th is the day. Moving out.
Get moving.
Which is Tuesday.
So
maybe
Tuesday,
maybe Get Packed needs to get moving with moving out coming on the 28th.
That's it. Everything's on a lockdown for that. But yes, so we've all lost our pizza bet, but do not fear. Domino's is never far away. We will get to it in just a moment. Before we move on to the news, Richie, we've got one Retcon ritual we need to pick up. Yes. So we'll go over to you for Richie's Retcon ritual.
So in last week's Retcon ritual, we corrected ourselves by saying John Cena can't see this, which is apparently wrong. I know nothing about wrestling, so don't blame me. Blame these other two. It apparently is you can't see me. I am suggested a different one. You can't touch this, but that's already been taken.
Yeah, there was a lawsuit pending with that one, Richie, as well. So, yes, we don't know our WWE quotes. Don't hold us to it. We're only human, but yeah.
We're going to quickly segue away from the wrestling quotes, I think, just because there's some diehard fans out there, and, we're sorry.
You know
It's on YouTube.
So we have to retcon the retcon. Thank you, Richie.
we'll move on. But as I said pre-show in the Immortal Worlds of Hulk Hogan, what you gonna do, brother?
It doesn't matter.
Think of Mark Owens. No, don't. Move on. Which actually moves us on to the biggest stories of the week because it's been super crazy. We spoke about it on the stream. The hype is building. And before we get into all the hype, Tom, what should we move into?
The super sexy special Stadia story segment, aka the news. Za.
Oh, speaking of that, I hear people have called pizza za.
I'm going to go get a slice of za.
Oh, pie. What do you think about people calling pizza pie?
I mean, well, pizza pie is different. You go to Chicago and get a deep dish, it is a pizza pie because it is
I feel
really
like to be a pie, you have to have at least sides.
Yeah.
When the moon hit your eye. Was it? That's the lyric? It's amore?
That's amore.
Anyway.
No copyright infringements in this episode, gents. Let's steer away from the music.
Anyway, yeah, let's not start singing. I know it's early, we're sleep deprived. However, let's not go crazy just yet. But speaking of going crazy, we got some news this week which pertains to a lot of exciting Stadia information. Out of nowhere, don't say it, Google surprised us with a Stadia Connect. We've not had one since 2019, and here it is, coming out this Tuesday nonetheless, so soon, the 28th. Anyone who's in our quiz last night will know it was the 28th. Stadia Connect, gentlemen, it's coming.
So a very late Christmas present.
It is. The only topic we've really got to talk about then is what are our predictions? Ooh. What do we predict for Stadia Connect? So I've got some bullet points jotted down. I want to start at the top of the pile. Obviously, it's going to happen. well, shortly followed by AAA game predictions. Do we expect any? And what will they be? Because I want to like the pizza bet right now. We get a point for every correct prediction. Anyone who has the most points gets the pizza. Are you in?
Oh, right. Okay. I'm in on that. I'm just worried that we're all going to probably steer towards the same sort of things.
I think we can agree there's going to be game predictions because one of the biggest criticisms about Stadia now at the moment is the library. It's a bit lacking. So they've got to come out with games. Okay.
Right. Let's go from the top. AAA. My predictions, AAA, I've been very vocal about this, is I expect we finally get the news from Ubisoft that Rainbow Six Siege is coming. I think that is a given at this point. So not a new AAA, but I think an existing AAA title that would be pretty groundbreaking right here. So I expect Rainbow Six Siege to come. And as we've also, if you want to check out any discussions about this on Stadia Super Saturday, you can check us out on Stadia Talk with Chase at Phantom UFC Fan over on Twitter. We talked in quite a bit of detail about this, but we also need to talk about the free-to-play model and how that's going to work, because around about this time of year, Ubisoft are expected to discuss Rainbow Six Siege the base game, to go free-to-play. So we have to consider how that's going to work on Stadia. Yeah. But yeah, that's my AAA. It won't be called
base on Stadia.
That's a big caveat for me actually with Rainbow Six Siege, because I thought this might be a good one for a pro game, especially if it's got season passes. So you give the base game for pro, give people a taster. But if that base game is going free, do you think they're going to give all the season passes as part of a pro deal? I'm not sure there, because Ubisoft want to make money out of this.
Of course they do.
The thing with Rainbow Six Siege, obviously, it makes money from its yearly passes, its content. I think we discussed in previous episodes that it's paid itself off now. We're into 4 or 5 of Rainbow Six Siege, and it's still one of the most strong, thriving communities out there that's ever present and constantly gets updates. And Ubisoft have done themselves proud by supporting it for so long. That's nearly like half a decade of support.
Just shows the quality of the game.
Yeah, many games have died over that course of time, especially multiplayer ones. If anyone remembers Evolve, right?
I don't think Evolve ever really took off.
I think, Chris, you can edit Tumbleweed in the bottom corner for that.
That's the point. There was supposed to be a long pause. But, I mean, we've got Predator Hunting Grounds coming out on other consoles this weekend, I believe it is. that's another one that if it doesn't have the continued support, games like that rely on an online community. They can die a death.
I think that will go for a little while because it was similar to Friday the 13th when that came out, but I think that lost the licensing stuff, and it was the death knell there.
Dead by Daylight does it quite well. These asymmetric sort of competitive games where you have like a team of 4 and one big baddie kind of thing. Evolve tried, but I think it lost it somewhere along the line. But Dead by Daylight does really well, and that's been going quite strong for a while. They're still releasing new antagonists for that.
With these games, you just need unless you have like an established franchise that you're spinning off on, you need to get in people's hands somehow.
Yeah.
Definitely. There's a lot, and it is still a growing market. It's not as obviously grew as fast as Battle Royale, but these type of games weren't around without the benefit of an internal like community structure. My personal AAA predictions: I'm considering EA are going to come to the table massively. They've been on all the billboards for Stadia since day one. Will they actually bring anything to the table? It's probably about time. So I'm either going to put my hat on a sports game. My guess is FIFA. It's the world sport.
I'm putting you down for FIFA.
You
ain't having. I'm telling you right now, you ain't having the entire EA library because that's just such a widespread.
So because I've said FIFA
titles.
First, that's locking me in for FIFA.
Well, you got to call it, mate. You got to call it. I'm saying Rainbow Six Siege.
Okay, I can't see them bringing 2020 out. I think it'll be the next iteration of FIFA. Will
So
come
21
with this season. However, there is like a small caveat to that. If sport will even be a thing, because obviously the football seasons around the globe are all question whether they're going to be cancelled, written off. So how that may have an impact on the game release going forward or the next season starting, because the soccer season usually kicks off in the UK in August time. Can you see it all? I mean, they haven't even finished last season, and yet August isn't too far away in reality. So we'll see. But yes, if I'm supposed to put my dagger in the ground, I'd say FIFA 21.
Okay. All right.
You know, it's hardest going last because two of the big picks have already been taken.
I just threw a shit one in. I could have said many of the EA things.
You know what? We've got Ubisoft, we've got EA. I'm going to go Activision.
Okay.
We haven't heard much. This is coming out of absolutely nowhere. I think if they go Call of Duty, what's the Battle Royale one?
Warzone.
That would be a massive get.
Is that what you want to put down? Warzone.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm going to throw this out there.
I'm not optimistic on that one, but
I've already locked my answer in with Siege.
Yeah.
What I would like to see is along the lines of what you've just said, Richie. Activision Blizzard, definitely. I would like to see Diablo 4. I would like to see Overwatch 2 announced for Stadia. That's what I would like to see.
Which one are you going with, Tom?
I'm sticking with Siege.
No, I thought we got to go for multiple predictions.
Oh, right, okay.
all right.
Ooh,
yeah, this is a Stadia Connect, right? It's going to be huge.
Okay, what's more likely? What's more likely? What's more likely to sell well? Diablo is probably more likely to sell well.
At this point, it's Diablo 3 is fairly old. I think if you're into Diablo 4,
we're
already into Diablo 3.
We had the Diablo 4 announcement at last year's BlizzCon, so we know it is very much in the works. And it would be roughly this year, possibly 2021 when it comes out. Is it the right time for it to actually be announced to platforms? Yes. Is it going to do better because I know Overwatch 2 is coming this year? Oh, God, do I go with my gut?
Go for it. I think you're stupid, though.
I'm going to put Overwatch 2.
I just think for something like that, Blizzard would be more likely to announce on their own thing. Activision Blizzard through a BlizzCon or something rather than a Stadia Connect.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. But
Overwatch 2 is probably safer because,
again, we've seen an influx of shooters on Stadia, and we know that we know that they're All right, okay, Chris. To be fair, actually, we should be doing this in reverse order, I've just realised as well.
Should we do it in that kind of weird snake order where you go 1-1, then the last person gets 2 and you go backwards and forwards like that?
Well, I'm in the middle, so it doesn't matter.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
Plus, you've already done 2 now, Tom.
Yeah.
Fair.
So let's rewind the clock, ladies and gentlemen, and just take a stroll down history lane and look at. I'm going to stick with EA this time round. They get a lot of shit, but they make some amazing games as well.
The Sims.
Yeah, so good.
But you know that'd be a good shout actually for the casual.
It would, but actually, you know what? In console, it's rubbish. The Sims.
Yeah,
so
it is not good.
But Stadia works.
Yeah,
works
very true.
keyboard.
Yeah, very true. Sticking with EA, if we look back at other consoles and other fledgling platforms that have came out, PlayStation, Portable, Vita, Nintendo, everything, like all those little extra consoles in the world, Stadia is a new fledgling thing that's out there. I think EA are going to support it because they've been well and supporting it in the past. I do think Stadia needs a battle royale. I don't think Warzone and Activision, from what they've said in their board meetings and stuff in the notes,
I've written it down.
Tom's wrote it down.
I know
already.
where you're going.
I do not think Epic, with their own storefront and their own agenda, are willing to put Fortnite on another competitive platform, especially one from a massive rival such as Google. I mentioned on an episode, I think it was Stadia Talk, I think PUBG's dead in the water. Sorry to all PUBG players out there. They were the pioneer who championed battle royales. However, they've died a death due to unfortunate reasons. So I think EA are going to bring the first battle royale to Stadia, and I think it's going to be Apex Legends. That's where I'm putting my money.
It's already in the dock.
I've just been sat here trying to think of what do I go with next. Again, the pains are going last. And Chris, you just give me a good idea. I'm actually going to go with PUBG. Because it's falling off in people's thoughts, Stadia can give it a new lease of life, so I could see the publishers being very interested in exploring that. It isn't a battle royale on Stadia.
Now you've said
and
that.
I think it could work well as a pro game as well. Because that's the one thing I think PUBG's always had a problem with. There's about that pay barrier to entry that Fortnite doesn't have.
Do you not feel like there might be a problem that Microsoft own PUBG?
Oh, shit.
They do, right? I'm right in thinking they acquired PUBG early doors.
I can't confirm.
Why it came out on Xbox for like a good year before PlayStation.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments below if I feel I've just shot myself in the foot twice here with my picks.
But yeah, I think Battle Royale has to be one of the ones on the agenda because it's one of the most talked about genres in the world for the last few years. If we look and have a quick glance at the 6 titles we've got between us, they all have very strong online components to them.
Yeah.
Well, actually, all esports to a certain level.
Yeah.
So I think that shows you where Stadia is currently lacking there.
So, Richard, do you want to make one final AAA prediction then as we snake our way back?
Snake our way back, yeah.
I'm going to try and think of a safe one here because I'm just going to get destroyed out otherwise. This is not the one I'm going with, but actually, The Sims I thought could actually be quite interesting if EA come over because The Sims is surprisingly hardware intensive for what a game is typically pitched at a more casual user. But I'm just stalling for time here at the moment. What do I go with? EA is a good shout.
Wait.
I'm drawing a blank.
Do you want to pass for now? The snake failed.
Yeah, I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass.
Okay.
Now.
Right. So back to myself. I'm going to stick with EA because I've got it now. In my head, there's a game I know I'd love. Richie, you're currently playing it. Tom, you and me have both finished it. I think it would be a great title to have while it's still relatively new. However, I'm not going to go with it because that's the obvious one. I'm going to go with the much-rumoured Mass Effect trilogy. It's going to be announced.
Absolute bastard.
Not exclusive to Stadia, but I do feel like they've maybe had conversations behind the scenes to maybe announce it's a real thing, and I feel like it might be a good get to have it on a Stadia stage presence rather than it be at someone else's. Because we know Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo, they do partner with EA and Activision, these third-party companies, quite a lot. I mean, look at Call of Duty's relationship with PlayStation, how that's tipped the landscape from 360 having like the dominant Call of Duty kind of community over to now PlayStation. They get all the content early, they get all the advertising campaigns there, they get all the boxed editions come out of the console. I think that would be a great shout for Stadia to go, you know what? Everyone's been shouting for this for years. Let's get it. It's not exclusive to us, but let's make the announcement linked to us so people associate Stadia with Mass Effect trilogy.
Wow.
And EA needs another win. So yes, I was going to go for something else, but that's my red herring out there.
That is a spicy pick. I really like that one. I hadn't even considered it, but that is something that I would throw all of my money at. All DLC, everything. I'd purchase it all again.
As someone who's never played them,
I'd strongly
would
recommend
still
you
be
do.
honest. Yeah, everyone has.
Yeah.
I've never had a remaster to get me in and play the first one.
Right.
So-
Okay.
I used to be a big BioWare fan. For me, in the recent years, it very much went off the boil. Like, I didn't like Dragon Age Inquisition. Dragon Age 2 was rubbish. Dragon Age Origins, though, was one of my favourite games of all time. So Mass Effect, it is a game again. I missed it, but I would like to go and play. But Tom, would you kindly put me down for BioWare? But no, Bioshock. I tripped over my one.
A Bioshock trilogy, I'm assuming, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. You've just stolen that straight out from under my nose, because that's where I was going to
That's
go.
why I wanted to jump in.
Yeah, no, them's the rules. Them's the rules.
If you want to know why, I think, Chris, you've brought this up a couple of times in various podcasts. It's basically your reasons. That it's being ported over the Switch.
Yeah.
Chance it hasn't been announced to Stadia yet. I think they're very much loved games. I think it's
man.
gettable.
Yeah. I mean, it's coming. Yeah, the fact that it's coming to Switch just shows that they are 2K willing to port these games out of there.
Yeah.
And I suppose, our predictions don't necessarily need to pertain to AAA games. If there's going to be plenty of ports, no doubt, coming out. So we might as well mix them into it as well. So, Tom, it doesn't have to be new AAA. It can be prediction.
Yeah.
It can be any. Could be My Name is Mayo, the lovely indie game from PlayStation. If you want
Clicking simulator.
I am. Do I make an absolutely brash call here? Oh, pizza!
The game?
No, I'm trying
Pizza
to think
Tycoon.
what is going to get me pizza. What is more likely to happen?
Obviously, you're thinking logical now rather than
Yeah.
blue sky thinking.
Yeah. I feel like Overwatch 2 was very much a bold claim right there, and I'm wondering whether to support it with another and go the other one and go with Diablo 4. Truth be told, I'm leaning towards. Oh man, you've stolen two really good ones there.
So I know you guys were speaking off camera, I think yesterday, about a particular game that's only been on PC.
Okay,
that would work well on Stadia. I don't want to give you any more clues than that in case I wanted, but
How many are we doing?
Oh man, I mean,
that's what we want.
There's one thing that sort of we've talked about privately off stream before. I spoke with Richie about it. Is they're adding controller support to World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is a huge title.
Oh, wow.
It's an old title. It's been around since 2005. Lots of expansions. Never come to console, but it's always been rumored to come to console. But I'm not going to put it down. I'm going to put down the child favorite, Minecraft. I think we may see Minecraft come soon. At the Connect, I'm not 100%, but I think
that, it's a good shout. That
I'm not sure. I think Minecraft is a bold prediction. I know you have it on PlayStation and stuff for being owned by Microsoft, but it was already on PlayStation.
I've changed my mind.
No, it's locked. It's locked.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
I do think Minecraft is a great shout though, because
it'd be great for the platform.
But that barrier to entry is non-existent, and we know it's used educationally now. Minecraft for coding and stuff like that.
I'm going to put this on record then. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. But Horizon Zero Dawn.
Nah.
It's just gone. It's off exclusivity now.
It's off exclusivity it's on the PC.
And
it's a very different market to where PlayStation usually operates, so I think it's safe to put for them.
It's gone. You said you wanted to win the pizza, Tom, not throw it out the window.
Oh, man.
Your neighbour's going to hate you when there's just
a man can dream.
A man can dream.
Man can dream.
So I'm thinking. So in line with my last prediction, so I've got two new games. Well, not new games, but like two AAA games. I want to stick with the remastered ones. I've been touting this for a long, long time. WB Montreal have been teasing us for a damn long time about a new upcoming Batman game. Okay. Now, what better time to jump into some excellent Batman games than with an Arkham collection, similar to what we've got on every other platform. Dig deep, give us the Arkham collection in line with a potential announcement for whatever this WB, Batman, Superman, whatever game it is coming out. Give us the collection first, and then that sets the platform up perfectly to be day and date with the new game announcement whenever that comes out. So put me down for the collection, not the new game announcement.
The collection.
Set me up.
Okay.
Get to it, Alfred.
So wait, hang on a minute. Are we doing the snake thing properly here?
I think we're just jumping around, to be honest.
we've just gone up and down. We went Richie, me, you.
But that means you get double the choice every time, because it'll go 1 for me, 1 for Chris, 1 for Richie, 2 for Chris, 2 for me, 3 for Chris.
Right.
Ah.
Right, Chris, you currently have 3, Chris has 4, I have 3. So,
yeah.
Tom, if you go one more, I go one more, then we'll just go
Minecraft and Horizon.
I said it didn't count because I thought we were only going to stick with 3.
you can stick it in.
Wait, hey, no, hang on a minute. Nobody established a number that we can have prior to this. We just keep throwing these out there. We're going to set a hard number on these.
I say we go 5.
We go 5. Okay, all right.
Because we've got other things that we're going to chat about as well.
I've dodged a bullet there then. So no, I'm not taking Horizon Zero Dawn. Instead, I'm going to go with Dark Souls collection.
Very interesting. So our 4th picks were all going collections then.
I mean, you got a Mass Effect trilogy and the Bioshock trilogy.
And the Ezio collection.
Okay, so he's going to go throwback for Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I was toying between Origins in this, but I think we're more likely to see the Ezio collection first.
Okay, I'll put you down for Assassin's Creed.
Quicker.
Rather than making it more specific, we'll go Assassin's Creed collection, some sort of compilation of perhaps 1, 2, some more.
An old Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah,
that would tie in smartly with this Uplay initiative that they've got coming out. Ubisoft eventually, for the Uplay to work, surely have to have nearly all the games in the library accessible.
Yeah.
So that would make sense. Yeah, it's a good shout, Richie.
All right, Chris, do you want to go for your 5th?
Fifth and final one. Now, I've got my 2 AAAs, I've got my 2 remaster collections. I'm going to go down the indie route now.
Oof.
Honk honk, mother blah blahs. With...
How long have you been waiting on that one?
Well, I've been thinking
Game
about
of the year, baby.
And go to that's it. Go to an indie game, and what better indie game that comes to mind than the Game of the Year, the DICE Game of the Year winner, Untitled Goose Game.
Yep, fair shout.
You know the wore the T-shirt in the Games for Google conference. So there you go. That is my final choice, gentlemen. Untitled Goose Game.
Okay. Richie, we'll go back to you, and then I'll wrap this up.
I'm liking the idea of going indie, and I'm just trying to think of what one do I want to go for. Again, I'm thinking older title. I'm thinking the reason I'm thinking older titles is because it's impossible to predict what indie games might be announced that have not yet existed. I'm going to go with Super Meat Boy.
Oh, okay.
That's one to test Google's latency as well. That.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think it's one. I think over the last decade, it's been one of the most popular indie games going.
It's so tough as well.
People know the name. It's,
yeah.
Oh, I've thought of another one I want.
And a new platform gives it, again, it's a new lease of life for the game, for the developers, then a couple extra quid.
Too late, Chris. Too late.
Can I say it anyway, even though it doesn't count for our prediction?
Go on.
And wait till Tom's finished his predictions.
Oh, yeah, he's not done one. Yes,
all right, okay. Fourth and final. My brain is not working. I had it until...
Do you want a hand?
No. Come on. Vamp for me, guys, while I'm thinking about this. Just ramble on.
Wrestler?
What?
Who's your favourite wrestler?
Who's the guy in the tights?
Most of them.
Well, I don't like wrestling, so it's just not for me.
Right, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch 2, Minecraft, Dark Souls Trilogy, and...
I feel like I want to give you a drum roll.
Nope. No Man's Sky.
Oh.
I'm going for it. No Man's Sky. I'm being very hopeful with some of these, I'll be honest with you. But...
Yeah, I think we all are.
Have you seen my list? It's terrible.
Yeah, tune in for our live show, which we've not mentioned yet, but we are going to be doing a watch along to the Stadia Connect this Tuesday. We will get the scheduled event up on our YouTube channel, so subscribe. Make sure you like the video and tune in to watch our live reactions to potentially the most epic failing of predictions ever this Tuesday at 5 UK time. And I really hope we are right with some of these. I know we're thinking big. We're starved for games, and I think we're just very not opportunistic.
We're having some fun with it.
Optimistic.
Yeah,
there are some beauties in there. Like as I said earlier, Mass Effect trilogy, Arkham collection, BioShock, like the collections. I think is where we sort of need to build up the back end of the library while bringing newer titles out at the front.
I've came really round to appreciating collections recently because it does preserve all the games that maybe you wouldn't have got round to playing. And as I've mentioned in the podcast, I recently played the Arkham Asylum game, and it was over 10 years old now. And I think the difference now with people saying old games are old games, because of the graphic fidelity and the art styles on some of these games, they essentially become timeless classics now. I played that Arkham game 10 years later than originally playing it. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Not once did I question the graphics at all.
When we were playing Tomb Raider.
Yeah, Tomb Raider. Yeah, that was 7-year-old. That's 7-year-old, and we thoroughly enjoyed that. And even when we got to the end, we complimented it for its graphics, its story, its gameplay, its character development, every stage throughout that game, that playthrough. So yeah, a classic game will be timeless. I mean, just look at Pac-Man. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that brings it to an end of our predictions for the pizza bet anyway. Pizza predictions, whatever we want to call it.
Pizza predictions.
Amore.
That's amore.
In terms of other throwout titles that I didn't get a chance to say, Tom, you'll be with me on this one. I would love to see Activision pull their strings and bring us Crash Bandicoot games and Spyro games.
Yeah, I mean, they are now multi-platform. They're not exclusive to Sony anymore, so it would be nice. Racer. It would be nice to see those, definitely. I think I'm with that.
Yeah. I think we're more likely to see a Call of Duty first because Activision have made much noise about Stadia at all. I think they're probably more likely to test the waters with a bigger title. Yeah. I'm not saying it's Crash and Spyro small.
Yeah. The one thing you've got
relatively.
The one thing I would throw in there as a caveat from a business perspective is they have to weigh up. It's not just as easy as pushing Call of Duty to Stadia and being like, "There's your big title, have at it," because you've got to think about the negative connotations that are associated as well. If they push Call of Duty and it doesn't get the player base, then not only does Google get slack on it, but then some big media cats, whatever you want to call them, could possibly also jump on that and say, "Oh, Call of Duty's failing."
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I'm not sure how much Activision would care about that because them stories were out for years. I mean, I think it's Call of Duty World War kind of turned things around a bit, but before that, Call of Duty was kind of not really. It was selling millions and millions of copies, but wasn't really getting much discussion around it. I just don't think, if people are buying it, I don't think Activision care too much about the press.
Yeah, I think what Tom, you're right in saying is like we've alluded to with a lot of these game predictions that it needs that online thriving community, and we've seen news outlets report on Destiny's numbers quite a lot as a sticking point for whether Stadia is doing well or not. And the reality is maybe Destiny's just not everyone's cup of tea who plays Stadia. That's a sticking point. What they'll lean into and say, look, that's it. So you're right, Tom. I think, look, Call of Duty's numbers on Stadia compared to PlayStation, Xbox.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. That's the point that I was trying to make there, just to be clear, is it's a numbers game. And I do see what you're saying in terms of pushing Call of Duty on there. Activision probably don't care, but the reality is behind the scenes is that they also have to be very careful with pushing a title when they could only get 10% of the player base. Is it a cost-worthy exercise for them, really?
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. If you think about it, they need to cover the cost of porting it over effectively. A
big point of that, though, Richie, is we've just had...
It's a gamble.
We've just had Modern Warfare Remastered, 2 remastered. The rumour for Modern Warfare 3, just the campaign, I think, is rumoured to drop like this week or this month or something imminently. You could port the campaigns over.
They could do Modern Warfare 1, 2, 3 as a single collection.
Yeah.
Just the campaign side of it.
Yeah, collections and preservations are fantastic, and the great thing with Stadia is because it is an iterative platform which is going to grow over time. You're not going to need to worry going, I can't play my Call of Duty games, I can't play my old Dark Souls games because they're stuck on my old console, gathering dust in the spare bedroom. Stadia's, it just goes on and on. So the game you buy now is still going to be there to play in several years' time without any further improvement.
Yeah, but I think real talk, I'm not realistically expecting anything from Activision in the next year for Stadia. I think they are one way Google are going to have to go, he's our concurrent user base, and that number be worth their while.
That would be a shame. That would be a shame, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of big titles coming out from Activision, from Blizz, very soon, which I think Google should capitalize upon.
I'm kind of putting Activision and Blizzard in separate categories. I know it's the same overarching. Blizzard have almost got a bit of a different culture around them.
Yeah,
I could see an Overwatch much quicker than a Call of Duty.
That's why I'd lean more towards the Crash and Spyro games, because I just think the more evergreen, they appeal to a wider audience, families and stuff. Especially if we're talking about family share coming later on this year, and that parry entry. If you've got several kids and you can just do family sharing, they can all go and play their little lovely Spyro and Crash games upstairs, downstairs, on their phone, on the move, whatever that may be, on the Chromecast. I think, and I'm a massive fan, so it has a place in my heart as well. And I'd love to have a kart racer on Stadia.
Yeah.
We've got many racing games.
No changes.
Yeah, give us a kart racer, because we ain't getting Mario Kart.
It was not what Chris was saying. I just thought of something I wanted to change.
Yeah, you could throw a suggestion out there, but it ain't changing shit.
Right. My alternative suggestion was a Wolfenstein game.
Okay.
We've got what?
Youngblood.
We've got Youngblood, but the others aren't there, and id Software seem to like.
Yeah.
It's Wolfenstein, isn't it? It's Bethesda, isn't it?
It is Bethesda, yeah. Chris, you were also going to mention possibly an indie title. Did you mention that? Another one that you thought of?
Did I have another one? I can't remember.
You mentioned, Richie, when you mentioned Super Meat Boy, I started thinking a little bit more sort of random procedural generation. I started thinking another title by the same team, Ed McMillan, Binding of Isaac as well, something like that.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, I could see titles like that coming to Stadia eventually.
Yeah.
So that brings us to an end of our pizza predictions. Find out on Tuesday how wrong we were, and how we'll very much regret putting our tinfoil hats on and dreaming big. But you know what? You don't get anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't dream big. So, alongside the game predictions, I want to curb that there. But in terms of continued conversation, do we feel like they'll bring any new studio acquisitions to the table?
Ooh, studio acquisitions.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to name any names. Unfortunately, I think there'll be partnerships, but I don't think there'll be any acquisitions per se.
Yeah,
we've seen Microsoft dig deep and acquire nearly everyone who was going spare, which has prompted Sony to buy Insomniac and a bunch of other acquisitions that no doubt in discussion. I know Remedy's been talked about, who made the amazing Game of the Year Control. There's rumours are going around all these second-party deals, but you've got to think with the two startups, they're going to want more under the belt, and it's very difficult to create one from scratch, whereas it's much easier to go, hey, they made a good game. How much money we got? Oh, yeah, shit tons. Let's just go buy them.
If there is acquisitions, I think they're smaller ones.
Yeah.
Smaller independent studios. Probably the sort of studios where you might know the game, but not the developer.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to see Google buying up the likes of Sega or buying up,
That would be a baller move, though.
It'd be interesting. I think it's more likely that we're going to see partnerships as opposed to acquisitions. Yeah. Like I could see them continuing working together closely with like Codemasters. I'd like to see some more involvement, perhaps from more Japanese developers like Bandai Namco, Konami. Getting some sort of involvement from that perspective.
Yeah, I wonder how much GDC's heard their plans, because GDC, with it being a developer-centered conference, I can imagine Google probably had loads of meetings lined up, and this also, it's just opportunity for developers who might be interested in working with Google to speak to other developers who already are and just get like the inside scoop, then sort of just conversations between different companies in the industry. So I wonder how much that's going to affect things for like studio acquisitions and partnerships and stuff like that.
I imagine a lot of it switched to digital now. I think a lot of these businesses are well equipped to have these conversations.
I'm just thinking
not the ideal circumstances, but
it's the face-to-face random. Oh, bump into a guy working at a different studio. Oh, how's it working with things at Google? We should go for a drink or something, have a chat.
Yeah. Lavish.
Sort of like not planned, spontaneous things.
Give them a good free Google pen, entice them in.
Get a mug.
Well, I'm not even saying with Google. I'm saying developers interacting with each other.
All right. Okay. So next point of call for predictions and potential announcements. Do we feel that they are going to bring up the Stadia Gen 2, quote unquote, that's been rumored this week? We haven't really delved into it because, again, without an official source for this rumored Gen 2 upgrade, don't want to spend too long on it. But do you think there's going to be any announcement about the specs of Google Stadia being cranked up, gentlemen, to match the next gen?
I think they would be stupid to do that. I'm going to be completely honest. Unless it is literally a side note, like a caveat that just says, oh, by the way, server upgrades are coming. If they say something like that, then fine, I can let it slide. Yeah. But if they come out and say talk specs at all, they haven't learned a damn thing since the first Connect.
I think at best they're going to imply it through the sort of lens of, and we're constantly looking to continually upgrade our servers to bring a better performance. I don't think they're going to go, Gen 2 Stadia, less than a year into Stadia being launched.
Like, following on from that, I could see them saying something along the lines of, we're working hard behind the scenes to bring you the latest, the next generation of video games to Stadia, something like things. Yeah.
And with Stadia being infinitely scalable effectively, they're obviously working on how do we improve the servers, what's the next step, do we probably having discussions, do we slowly iterate the increase, or do we plan to have a big jump every now and again? But
I think it would be smart for them to play their cards close to the chest on this front.
Yeah,
they don't need to come out at this point. One, they're not big enough to really compete with the other two big players. Well, the other three big players in the market at this point.
Yeah,
I really feel that they should just keep it close, keep it quiet, and then if and when the time is necessary, come out. So potentially with the launch of next gen consoles and people, all the hype and fervors around there, then maybe come out swinging and say, these two new boxes that cost £400, £500 or dollars, we've just cranked it up a couple of gears. Our Google Stadia blows them out of the water, and guess what? The entry is still the same cost it was X amount of months back. And that's when they should go big and say, look, we've upgraded it. You don't need to buy another console. All of our existing players have, by default, just got better specs straight away off the bat. I think that's a good power play that they should keep close to their chest until the time is right. So, I think you're totally right there, Tom, in saying it. They'd be daft to come out and talk specs on a Connect.
Again, I think specs is more something you're going to see at like a GDC or something. Stuff that the developers more rather than the general public. Mm-hmm. I see the Connector should be pitched more at the general public.
Yeah,
I think
we
just need to do away with the talk about specs as a narrative, in my personal opinion. Like we alluded to this when we were talking about like the follow up from the Mark Cerny presentation for PS5. Like he went out there and he had to sort of basically say to the world, yes, our specs in certain graphically are lower numerically than the Xbox Series X, but we know that it's not a question of that. It's how the games perform on specific hardware. So that narrative needs to die. It needs to die now.
And more importantly, it's boring as anything to watch. Like Tom, me and you were chatting while we watched that Mark Cerny showcase, I suppose, and my word, there was nothing exciting for your average consumer out there. If you're into the technology, amazing. Like I think even you at some point, Tom, was saying, like, right, this is even getting to me. I think if you're going to do a Connect, it needs to be all about the games, all about the community, all about the engagement, all about the fun that Stadia is bringing, because we mentioned it last night in our live stream. Gamers are passionate. Mm-hmm. We're a passionate breed of people, and we love big hype moments. And coming out and talking about teraflops and stuff, it only does so much for us. So, I don't think they're going to announce it here. I think they should keep it close and bring it up when the time is right.
It's a card they can play in the future when they need to play that card.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of playing cards, we may get Solitaire one day on Stadia.
Ooh,
however,
coming soon, trademark.
Do we think that they're going to bring the pro games.
Pro games
28th of April. They have 2 days left to tell us our free games.
They either need to announce them at the Connect or they need to do it on Thursday, because Thursday marks the end of the month. Yeah. If they do their usual Stadia thing of announcing it in a Thursday update, the last Thursday of the month, they'll be releasing them the next morning. So we have to find out on Tuesday, surely.
Yeah,
that's going to be the safer bet.
Which pertains to, do we think Get Packed, which also isn't out? Their rival moving out is out the 28th, the same day as the Connect. Does this mean Get Packed is going to be the free game for May, day and date with the launch?
I think it's a very strong bet that it is going to be Get Packed plus one other at this point. I think was it when we were talking to Chase yesterday, Meg was saying the competition Get Packed done was for a Premier Edition with the game.
It wasn't.
They didn't say whether it's going to be a code or this is going to be a pro game.
Okay.
So I can see it being Get Packed plus one other.
I don't think so. I disagree with that. I think Get Packed is going to be it'll probably come out with on Tuesday. I think it will be out at the point of the Connect. I think they'll announce that it's coming out as of the Connect, but I don't think it's going to be a pro game. Are we talking pro game predictions?
Yeah.
All right. I firmly believe we're getting Assassin's Creed Odyssey as a pro deal. I firmly believe that, and I bought it day one. So I'm not too upset if that happens, because I think, considering the new influx of players, I think it needs to be a meaty single player title.
Yeah.
Something that is really going to get people spending a lot of time playing it, and that's the kind of game that you play it, you enjoy it. You really get immersed in it, and then you're spending countless hours investing yourself in the system.
And you're also buying the DLC.
Yep.
That is a fair point, yeah. And it's a good shout again to remember that everyone who's just recently joined as part of the 2-month free trial, giving them something like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, as I alluded to last night, I put 130 hours into Odyssey. If you get a handful of those people who are trying this 2-month free purchase out, they're not going to want to give that up 2 months down the line. I think I played Odyssey gradually throughout the course of the entire year since launch. For that cost, I'm going to get that and free extra games and Stadia. Magic, it works. I think it's going to retain a lot of people from this 2-month trial that they've given out.
Yeah.
So good shout.
That's actually that's a very good shout. It's a big game. It's probably going to take casual gamers more than 2 months to get through. So if you're getting through, you've got the game completely for free with your 2-month subscription, and you get in the end of them 2 months. $8.99 to finish the game?
Do you know what indie game we've not had yet as a pro deal?
Kine.
I don't think it'd be Kine.
Do you know?
Not in the future, maybe, but Kine's currently on sale now. That is the reason, because I think it'd be a weird choice to have it on sale and then give it away for free.
Kine at this point has now been on sale 3 times, and I don't think, like, all due respect to the developers, I don't think it's the title that's getting a big influx of players. Like, a lot of people aren't picking it up and trying it, and because of that, there's not a lot of publicity for it on YouTube or just in social media in general. I'm not going to throw my hat in and say that it's going to be Kine, but I think there's a strong argument there to say that it may be coming soon to the pro deals.
Yeah, I think in this year, definitely at some point. But the reason I'm thinking, they haven't announced the pro deals, which is they're already past when they usually would. They've announced the Connect instead. I really think they're going to come out swinging. I think the 2 games are going to be big. This is why I'm thinking Get Packed, and I agree with you on Assassin's Creed. There will be my predictions.
I tell you, here's a bit of a sleeper for you.
Like one you can just grab as a grab bag later in the year.
Okay, here's a bit of a sleeper for you then. We're still waiting on Orcs Must Die 3. We're waiting on Panzer Dragoon Remake. We're waiting on Destroy All Humans. There's quite a few other indie titles in there we've had no news about, despite being announced. What are your thoughts on any of those possibly being announced as a free one? Because I'm firmly of the belief that Get Packed isn't coming for free. I will happily accept the fact that if it comes for free, that would be brilliant. But I somehow just don't. Ooh, I've just had a thought.
Feel it in your bones.
I've just had a thought.
What?
I think I've literally just had the thought that's flipped me to the other side of the argument.
Yeah. Go on,
And
then.
that is numbers game again. We know that I can't believe I'm doing this live. Team 17 moving out. Team 17, huge company, very famous, very well known and well
Are they
respected.
huge? I know they're famous.
Well, Worms. I mean, historically, they've got they're sort of like they're a linchpin of the gaming community in essence. Granted, much smaller than some companies, but moving out. Previously known for Overcooked, comes out on Tuesday. We've talked about that already. 28th. That isn't going to be free. Is this how they get Pack to become more widespread and more popular? That's the point that's just got me. Is that how they boost publicity?
If you want to hedge your bets, it might come out on sale. That has happened before with games and Stadia.
I see what
if you don't think it's going to be free, discounting it.
But what is going to get you more publicity? The game being free on Pro.
Yeah.
I've just argued myself out of that point.
I'm with you there. I can see you thinking that if
Yeah.
you've got two games that are so similar, and the optics from the public looking in go, right, there's two games, they both look relatively similar, they both relatively look fun, they remind me of Overcooked. One's 20 quid. Oh, one's free with a 2-month trial on Stadia.
Which I can get for free right now.
Yeah.
If they both look so similar, why? Yeah, I'll try the free one out, and then there you are. You're in the door.
I think I've just sold myself on that, and now I actually think not only that, but I think Google have actually splashed them a good bit of money behind the scenes to basically cover that because they are smart. Oh damn!
There you go.
Should we move on before you have a heart attack?
I think I'm going to have an aneurysm soon.
I just want to touch on you mentioned like things like Panzer Dragoon, and Optimus Die. I think maybe this Connect might be where it'd be nice to get some dates on things.
Yeah.
Google haven't been good at giving us dates, and they've been criticised for it. This might be the opportunity to actually stick. Or it doesn't even have to be a date. It could be autumn 2020.
Are you talking about the fabled roadmap?
Yeah.
Do you think...
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a detailed roadmap, but it's like Panzer Dragoon's going to be winter. Just tell us it's going to be in the winter.
It's the Ark of the Covenant. We finally found it.
It's a date.
Hopefully it's not a crystal skull.
But again, it's just one of them quality life for gamers, for consumers, because you need to think about what your purchase decisions. If there's a big game coming out, do you wait? And you might miss games because this game might come any moment.
Yeah, that is very true.
But,
Right, that brings us to an end of our hypothetical theories, predictions, pizza bets, whatever it may be, because we are running long. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is going to be a longer than usual episode because we've got so much news still to talk about. If you're just joining us now, welcome. You've just missed out on our crazy theories and tinfoil hat time.
I don't know why you'd be just joining us now. We don't live stream this.
Well, if you're joining us now, you might have went away for a breather from all this energy that we're bringing, all this
Boys,
hype.
I've got no beef, but this is a meaty episode.
Yeah.
It certainly is. Richie, what we were looking like for time? Give us a timestamp, will you please?
We are on about 50-ish minutes.
53 minutes.
That goes well. We can keep going. But yes, in light of all those predictions, do remember to subscribe and tune in because this Tuesday, the 28th, we will be bringing you a live reaction to our predictions. Hopefully we were right with him. You know, I'll even just take a quarter of those predictions at this point. If any of those come to life, I'll take them.
I'll take one.
Run with them. Yeah, I'll take one. Yeah, just one. Give me one. But that is a wrap on that story, which brings us on to a couple of other points that have dropped throughout the course of the week. Google has started to market Stadia. Now, they've been doing it through some email points, another point of contact, but a Google story picked up by 9to5.com this week showcased that Google Stadia was advertised on none other than the Google search engine homepage. Now, I'm talking the page that notoriously just has the Google logo, search bar, search, and I'm feeling lucky. That page is notorious for being just a blank white screen with a search bar. And that's what Google's famous for. It's where they made their money. It's where we probably all go to about 50 times a day when that random question pops into our mind.
I don't. I just go type straight into the browser URL.
Yeah, but not everyone does that, Richard.
Yeah.
Some people still go to google.com within the browser to then Google a question. You're right. it's a Neanderthal way of thinking, but people still do it. However, people on desktop still using Internet Explorer, things like that. Right on that homepage was the option to search or sign up, for the free version of Stadia. Now, I ask you, gentlemen, is there a better place for free marketing than on the Google search engine homepage?
Considering there are never any adverts there whatsoever.
Yeah.
What I can say is right now I've just loaded up google.com and the Stadia link isn't there, but there is a link to YouTube now saying make the most of your time at home this weekend. So it looks like they're being quite smart of using that and rolling it a little bit. But that's bloody massive. How much footfall does google.com get on a daily basis? On a minute basis?
A millisecond basis. It must be.
The interesting thing though is it is a very small text underneath the bar, so I don't know how many people are just going straight away into Google search, hitting enter, and it's gone.
Yeah,
it's not jumping out at me.
It just shows you though that they're willing to do something with that coveted homepage, and I think if they were to put the big Stadia logo there or play games for free, and maybe once it does roll out with YouTube integration, that is the most primest of real estates that you can put your own business model front and center and go, check out Stadia.
It's the heart of the internet.
Yeah, it really is people who are going to go, oh, let's search for PlayStation. Oh, wait, there's games, like before you even type the word, it's already marketed in front of you.
I know a lot of kids at schools will be doing things like Googling play games online for free and stuff like that to try to get browser-based games. So if they could do something with that player base, then brilliant. The one thing I would say is, again, I always try to look at this from a very objective point of view. And I would say it's a great call. It's definitely prime real estate. But they've got to be very careful in doing it and not overdoing it, because that Google search engine page has always been very crisp, very clean. Yeah. And if they start oversaturating it, it's going to start losing some of the essence of what Google have stood for countlessly. They've never had adverts there.
Yeah, since the message isn't there anymore, I think I'll read it. It says, "Thank you for staying at home. Enjoy free games from Stadia Pro." So they're putting it out more as a message relating to COVID rather than an advert. So I don't know if they will go as a full advertising thing. I think that with the current climate, they can get away with it this time.
Yeah, perhaps.
But it's an interesting topic of conversation, which I think they'll probably test a few variants of marketing out with that homepage. But like I said, if you were to go to a business and charge them for posting an advert on that particular page, that's probably worth more than your business in itself.
Probably several million.
Yeah,
there's got to be.
I think Google would just say no. They don't need the money for that.
Definitely not. But if you were to put a monetary value on it, even Scrooge McDuck could not afford.
Yeah. How many? Honestly, how many people do you think have approached Google for advertising on the homepage over the years?
Not bothered for a long time. But originally I can imagine.
How many gold coins do you need to swim through to
a lot? Yeah. Which brings us over to our next story then anyway. We've got a couple of websites have been re-reviewing Stadia this last week or so in light of the Pro free announcement. I just wanted to bring it up that IGN, Imagine Games Network, one of the biggest video game news outlets that there is out there, that possibly is actually, they re-reviewed Stadia. They covered the performance, the latency, the game catalog. They essentially did a deep dive back into everything to review it. And I just wanted to highlight their final verdict. I'll just read it out here. So you got verdict. They've said, quote, "If there was little reason to subscribe to Stadia Pro before, there is even less reason now that a free version exists." Which I kind of agree with.
Yeah.
After nearly half a year, Stadia has chipped away at its missing features, but its catalogue is still troublingly empty, and a handful of the most exciting features still haven't been mentioned for months. But Stadia is not dead in the water, and the introduction of a free base model is a game changer. If your internet is fast enough, it's an opportunity to buy a game with no hardware but an Android phone or a crappy old MacBook and rip and tear through a visually stunning blockbuster. They gave it a 7, which on their scale is good. Stadia is much better than it was at launch, but its catalogue is still a ghost town and missing features still stand. In a nutshell,
I'm surprised it's a 7, actually.
Yeah, me too, because IGN are quite harsh on hardware, I find.
Yeah, I would have expected it to land about a 6.
Mm-hmm. Unpopular opinion. I don't think Stadia's changed that much, really.
Not for us, I don't think it has either.
No, not since previous. not since previous reviews. I think I'm a little bit. I love the fact that it's getting good reviews, and I love the fact that these companies are now finally opening themselves up to it.
Yeah.
As well as IGN, we've also seen Eurogamer and Digital Foundry, who had another deep dive into it as well, of which they've reviewed their reviews, shall we say? Yeah, I think it's very interesting. Very interesting.
The Digital Foundry one.
I'm wondering if the launch of Stadia being so fumbled has had them these reviews just kind of writing it off and then moved on, and the fact that it's still around and the player base is slowly increasing. Like, let's actually give this our time to have a look into.
It's the nature of the media industry. They always report on the shit rather than the good, the positive.
Well, you remember early days, there were so many people complaining about terrible latency issues, probably who hadn't played it.
Or haven't actually optimized their network setup and actually considered that it's not the service itself, but it's their home networks, which we've talked about before as well.
Yeah, the Digital Foundry guys did a really good reset. Like in their article, they break down how they've reset the router, they've tried to optimize it for the best possible output. And the guy in his video actually finds out that hardwiring your cable into a Chrome browser is actually the quickest way to reduce latency and ping. For when he's playing Doom Eternal, which is great, but he's right in saying in his article he also highlights that you shouldn't have to do that every time. You shouldn't have to disconnect everything from your router to get it to work. But what I'd really do
for the peak performance.
Optimum, what I really do like though is, like you said, Tom, they are re-reviewing. They're taking a second look and a second gander, because sites like IGN, it sometimes really bothers me that they have their podcast centric to PlayStation. They have the Xbox one. They've got their Nintendo Switch NVC podcast. It's like, does Stadia not deserve like at least one or two dedicated members of staff to at least keep an eye on it and bring stories and review it? And I think a big part of that potentially comes from Google's marketing, that we see games still announced that are coming to Stadia and don't have the logo on that screen at the bottom. They need to drive us home that, no, we're a big player, we count, get our face out there.
The marketing for me is atrocious. Unless you're tuned into the platform and into like the community blogs and the Stadia YouTube, there is very, very little marketing. And when you're launching a new product, you need to get people thinking about it.
The joke amongst the gaming community is, Stadia's still a thing.
Yeah. Well, because no one's saying about it.
Yeah, because there is nothing out there for it.
And you can't expect, I don't think you can expect the big games journalists to go out of their way to review a platform that they have not just generally, as they're going about the business, are not hearing about. If Google are pushing the marketing, if you're getting like ad spots on television through like even just YouTube ads, if they're seeing it regularly, then they're probably more likely to consider it.
Yeah, and this is where games play a big part, because we've seen Guilt reviews and we've seen Lost Words reviews. Like they're like critically really well received, and they're the only ones getting reviewed on Stadia because everyone else leans towards the bigger platforms, which is expected. That Stadia is still in its infancy, so we can't shun that. It would happen if anybody came out. If Sega came back with a console, it would have to start again as well. So no surprise. But we'll move swiftly on from that, because we've theorized about reviews and the news outlets hating on Stadia for the sake of clickbait. But you won't get that here. You'll get true, honest journalism from three people who do not have journalistic degrees.
We're not journalists.
But speaking of more news, Tom, would you like to run us through two new game announcements that I know you have some thoughts on as well? You've been quite vocal about this in the Twitter sphere. Yeah. 2 new games.
So, Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris and Kona. 2 games. Kona, 2016 game. Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, 2014 game. Advertised as new games coming to Stadia. My opinion is they're not new. They're far from it. So I appreciate they're new to the platform, but I've had a bit of time to mull over this since the original announcement. And this is why I quite like the fact that we record our podcasts on Sunday and push them out on Monday, because it gives me time to reflect on my usual ramblings and mutterings on Twitter. It is good that we're getting older games to flesh out the back of the catalogue. It is good from that perspective. The marketing on that needs to change a little bit. It needs to stop advertising them as new games coming, because people do jump on and misread it and think, but they're not new games.
Drop the word new.
Yeah.
Just drop the word new.
Yeah, games coming soon to Stadia, something like that. But I wonder whether these were aptly timed to get us thinking. Like, I'm starting to get a little bit psychological here. is it setting up a narrative to make us sort of feel that way of being like, oh, we're only getting older titles, so that when the Connect does come, because they knew it was coming on Tuesday before we did, that when they drop us a bombshell, that we suddenly go, oh shit. Huh,
yeah,
okay.
It seems weird that these aren't just part of the Connect, right?
Yeah. Like, why announce it when they know the Connect is coming? Like,
well, hopefully it's because they got enough in the Connect that there was no place for them.
Yeah, but then how does that work from the developers of those games? Like, you're talking about 2 games that are coming to Stadia. They're going to get washed, like they're going to get brushed underneath the sofa.
Well, I almost think if these games came out during the Connect, they'd probably get more dwarfed. Where at the moment, because they weren't part of the Connect, we're talking about them.
Yeah, very true.
If about the Connect, we probably wouldn't be, because we'll probably skip past to the more interesting stuff.
If it pertains to deals where they said, so like the developers of Kona and Parabol, and obviously the amazing Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics relationship that they've got with Stadia, I wonder if that pertains to, we'll get these little 2 games out in the week because they've got bigger games as part of the Connect, and they said, you know what, you've got 1 slot at the Connect, which game do you want to push?
Yes. Yeah.
And either that could be Kona have been working on an indie game to bring across.
Okay.
And Square Enix have got another game that they're going to port across as well.
So I would really like Square Enix to put their money where their mouth is and move away from the narrative of Crystal Dynamics coming to it and start pushing out other Square Enix titles. Your Hitmans, your Final Fantasies, for God's sake.
I mean, 15's on there.
Yeah, 15 is already there, but bring us some more, man. Give me some of that JRPG love.
I think I might have said it before in older episodes. A Final Fantasy, going back to our collection idea, a Final Fantasy Classic collection. Basically, take 1 till 6 in a bundle. There you go.
Yeah, make another anthology or something like that.
Yeah.
I do think that Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, is coming to Stadia still. I'm still very much of that mindset because it's on PS4. You know, it is on console already, so I can see it working very easily with Stadia. But yeah, there's not a lot more to say about that. I've been very vocal about my thoughts on it, and hopefully this is a precursor to, as you've alluded to, perhaps they do have slots at the Connect, and they've been told, right, we can't push all of the games that you've got, so take a pick of what you want to announce now.
Yeah, these are definite 2 titles that will no doubt be potential pro games or pro deals, no doubt, in the future. It allows them to flesh out that library with some lesser known titles, some old titles that they can then go, we'll drop this down to less than $10. We'll drop this down to a couple of quid, which nicely segues into some new pro deals we got this week. So it makes sense that while you've got a new influx of people who, as we've mentioned, are going to be hanging around a little bit longer, if they can convince them Stadia is a verified platform and you're going to spend your hard-earned cash, why not bring them some new deals to tempt them in even more? So we've got Wolfenstein Youngblood was dropped down this week. We've got Metro Exodus, all editions were also dropped down this week. The Division 2, which we are all fans of as well over here at Sounds of Stadia headquarters. We've all been playing the Division 2. Less than $10 or £10.
Strongly recommend it for that price as well if you're out there.
Is it £8.50?
£8.25.
It's an absolute bargain.
If you are a pro, one of the new pro entry level players just joining Stadia, if you're considering purchasing a game, bear in mind that once your pro runs out, if you decide not to stick with the service, but you still want games to play on Stadia, get the Division 2. Like, that is a title that is very content heavy for such a cheap price.
Yeah, and it's going to be supported because the Warlords of New York DLC only came out last month, and that's just the first DLC. There is a season pass to buy, and there's a lot more coming as well in the future. So it's one to keep an eye on. It's one that keeps getting injections of energy from Ubisoft, and we've mentioned it with Siege. Their support is phenomenal. So getting in at the entry level at £8, $10, whatever it may be, that is one that I would, if you would, like you said, Tom, new to Stadia, that's a definite purchase for me for that price.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just looking at the list at the moment, and there's a big selection of games. Pro deals. We've got Wolfenstein Youngblood, Metro Exodus, Division 2, Just Dance, Borderlands 3, Tomb Raider, Red Dead, Tomb Raider, Kine.
Yeah.
10 games currently on pro discount?
Yeah.
When they've just give people 2 months free.
Yeah, sweet deal for them adoptees, those new people who've just joined.
And some of them are big games.
Mm-hmm. Not big in terms of download size, though, because we know the
No.
power of Stadia allows you to just stream it and play it. If you were going to jump in on them pro deals and download Red Dead Redemption, that's like an 80 gig download. You could be playing that in less than 2 minutes with purchase to play, which we've seen in our purchase to play series as well. So test it out, definitely.
Agreed.
And I can imagine them adding more by the end of the Connect as well. Here's some new games. By the way, 3 of them are already on a pro deal discount. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. Day and date discounts. Which game was it who came out last month that it went live full price and then it was discounted 10 minutes later? Was it Division?
Division 2, when it first came out, people purchased it. Servers were offline and very quickly rectified because they were very quickly notified that actually the game came out too soon.
Yeah. Definitely. And speaking of everybody who's just joined as well, our final story of the week is that the Stadia app on Android has crossed the 1 million downloads barrier. So we've touched on it in previous episodes that it was sitting around about 250, 300,000 download mark. The fact that it's now bumped way past a million shows that a lot of people have jumped onto the free entry level, and numbers that we've seen in Destiny have spiked up and a bunch of other games like a live action always online. We've seen their numbers spike and their player base, people being able to matchmake in games, has gone through the roof, which we expected. We're glad. Welcome all you new Stadia people to the community. Stick around. It's going to be a good ride. But that, ladies and gentlemen, brings it to an end of our news segment this week. Gentlemen, would you like to add anything in particular to the end of the news stories?
Just want to thank everyone again for tuning in to our quiz show on the Stadia Super Saturday, which was held yesterday. That was the 25th of April. You can check that out if you want to go back and watch it right now. A lot of people who may have missed it throughout the day, you can definitely catch up on that. Had an awful ton of fun. Hopefully it's going to actually inspire us to do more things similar to that in future as well. We want to be unique in the community, and it definitely was something that we didn't have throughout the day. And the other thing I do want to add as well from myself is the plans we did have for Spitlings. We are going to push it out again, probably, hopefully, if schedules allow us to do it later this week. It will be a live stream. It will not be a recording. We just find there is a lot of community involvement with those kind of things there. So keep an eye on Twitter, @Sounds of Stadia. Watch out for the announcement. We will definitely be pushing something out at some point, and we'd love to see you all there.
Yeah,
I just like to say
you all on Tuesday.
Yeah, definitely come join us on Tuesday. That's going to be awesome. I'd just like to say a big thank you to all the other Stadia creators in the community as part of Super Saturday, who basically kept me entertained for an entire day.
Very much needed under the current circumstances.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. But yes, thank you for joining us once again for episode 31 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video and the channel to stay kept in the loop with all news and upcoming events. My name has been Chris.
I've been Tom.
I've been Richie.
We've been Sounds of Stadia, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. See you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye.